Day 1, you wake up in a hammock below deck, Caribbean Sea. 1717, 40 men crammed into a ship built for half that many. The Golden Age of Piracy, historians will later call it, though nobody on this ship uses that phrase. To them, it's just work. You signed the articles 3 months ago in Nassau, a pirate haven with no governor, no navy, no laws except the ones the crews write for themselves. The articles are a real document. Every man aboard signed it, or made his mark if he couldn't write. It sets your share of any plunder, a full share for you, a share and a half for the captain, extra shares for the man who spots a prize ship first, or the one who loses a limb in a fight. Lose your right arm, 40 pieces of 8, lose a leg, the same. This is written down. This is law here, more consistently enforced than most laws back on land. You elected your captain. Every man voted. You included, and it wasn't ceremonial. If he leads badly, the crew can vote him out just as easily. On a Royal Navy ship, the captain is God, appointed from above, answerable to no one aboard. Here, he's answerable to everyone aboard, every single day. You step onto the deck. The ship is fast, a sloop, built for speed over size, because your entire business model depends on catching things, not fighting them head-on if you can help it. Most of what you do isn't cannon fire and boarding parties. It's showing up fast enough and looking frightening enough that the other ship simply surrenders before a shot is fired. Day 2. Breakfast is hardtack. A biscuit baked hard enough to survive months at sea, and salt pork from a barrel that's been open longer than anyone wants to think about. You soak the hardtack in your drink first. Otherwise, it can crack a tooth. Weevils live in it. Everyone knows. Nobody mentions it anymore. You tap the biscuit on the table first, out of habit to knock them loose. Water goes bad fast in barrels this old, so you drink small beer instead. Weak, low-alcohol beer. Safer than the water it replaced. By afternoon, it's rum. Watered down into something called grog, because straight rum on a working ship leads to men falling from rigging. You're assigned to the rigging today, climbing 40 feet up swaying rope ladders while the ship rolls under a moderate sea. Your hands are already calloused from 3 months of this. The men who've done it for years move like it's nothing. You are very clearly still not one of those men. At noon, the quartermaster inspects the ship. This is his job specifically, not the captain's. He settles disputes between crew members, distributes food and plunder fairly, and can overrule the captain on anything that isn't actively a battle. 2 centers of power on one small ship deliberately, so no one man holds all of it. Day 3. A sail is spotted on the horizon. The lookout's shout changes everything on deck in about 4 seconds flat. Men move to positions they've clearly drilled before. You're handed a cutlass and told to look useful. Your heart is doing something your chest wasn't built to handle calmly. You raise a false flag first, a merchant ensign, something ordinary, to close the distance without alarm. Only when you're close enough does the real flag go up. Black with a white skull, sometimes crossed bones, sometimes an hourglass, sometimes a full skeleton holding a spear, depending entirely on which captain had it sewn and what he thought would scare people fastest. This particular design isn't universal. Every notable captain has his own version. The merchant ship doesn't fight. It almost never does. Its crew are sailors, not soldiers, paid a flat wage regardless of outcome, with no reason to die defending someone else's cargo. They strike their colors within minutes. You board without a single shot fired, which is, you're starting to realize, the actual point of the flag, the reputation, the whole performance. Fear is cheaper than gunpowder. Day 4. The captured ship's crew are questioned, not tortured, mostly. The captain's reputation matters here specifically because word travels between ports, and a captain known for needless cruelty finds fewer ships willing to surrender quietly next time. Brutality is bad for business. A few of the merchant sailors, underpaid and unhappy in their old life, ask to join your crew on the spot. This happens constantly. Piracy pays better and treats its men more fairly than half the legitimate shipping trade does, which is a genuinely strange sentence but a true one. You take on cloth, sugar, and a modest amount of coin, nothing like the legendary treasure of the stories. Most captured cargo is exactly this ordinary. You split the sugar and cloth according to the articles you signed. Your cut this week comes to less than 3 weeks' wages on a merchant ship, and everyone aboard already knows this, and nobody complains, because the value here was never really about this one ship. Day 5. Someone gets careless near the rum and disrespects the quartermaster's authority during the split. A crime by the articles. There's a vote. The punishment isn't hanging, isn't flogging. Most crews don't flog. That's a Navy habit, seen here as needlessly cruel. The punishment is marooning, left alone on a spit of sand with a pistol, a small amount of powder and shot, and a bottle of water. One shot, presumably for himself if it comes to that, rather than a slow death by thirst. You watch the longboat row him to a strip of coastline barely larger than the ship's deck. Nobody talks about it much afterward. This is simply what the articles said would happen, and everyone signed knowing it. Day 6. A storm. Real fear. Different from the fear of a battle because there's no flag to raise against weather. No reputation that intimidates the sea. You're bailing water below deck for 6 straight hours. A man near you breaks 2 fingers on a swinging block and just wraps them himself. Because the ship's surgeon, if you have one today, is busy elsewhere, and stopping isn't really an option mid-storm. Surgeons are valuable enough that some pirate crews pay a captured ship's surgeon a bonus, sometimes literally kidnap him to keep him aboard against his will because medical knowledge at sea in 1717 is worth more than most of the plunder you'll ever take. You survive the night. The ship holds. Not every ship does, and everyone aboard knows a name or two of a crew that simply vanished in weather exactly like this. Day 7. Word arrives, passed ship to ship the way news always does out here, that a Royal Navy frigate is patrolling nearby, hunting specifically for pirate vessels operating in this stretch of water. This isn't unusual news. It's the entire shape of your life now. Governments have started offering pardons to any pirate who surrenders and stops, a genuine amnesty taken seriously by hundreds of men in these years, because the alternative, if caught, is a public hanging, and everyone aboard has seen or heard about one. Your captain calls a vote on whether to run, hide in a shallow inlet the frigate can't follow into, or make for a port and consider the pardon. It's close. It's tense. It is, like everything on this ship, decided by everyone, together, out loud, because that's the one rule that was never up for a vote in the first place. You're teleported back. No hammock, no hardtack, no vote deciding whether you live or hang by year's end. This ship you were just standing on ran on a document 40 desperate men wrote for themselves, in a world that offered them nothing, promising each other a fairer split of everything than any government of the era offered its own sailors. They elected leaders. They insured each other's injuries before insurance existed anywhere else on Earth. They also robbed and threatened and occasionally marooned a man alone with one bullet on a strip of sand and called it justice. Most of them were dead, hanged, or drowned within 2 or 3 years of signing that same document. They knew that going in. They signed anyway.